Dave, commiserations, it doesn't happen too often these days, but an off day today.
Yeah, we got what we deserved in the game, absolutely nothing. We weren't at it by a long stretch. And there's going to be games where technically you're not at your best, but what's happened, and we've not been at our best probably the last couple of weeks in terms of performances, but we found a way. We didn't find a way today, and culminates a disappointing day for us.
The winning run was always going to come to an end at some point, but I guess it's the manner of it today in terms of the performance.
You're going to have off days in terms of performance, and listen, credit to Newport, they deserve to win the game. Things, like I say, sometimes will go against you. What you've got to do as a minimum is compete. I don't think we competed well enough. Technically, like I say, we were off in terms of, we were put under pressure with that in mind, but we didn't do enough. Didn't put the ball in good areas. Didn't win individual battles. Defensively, didn't cope with what was thrown at us, and a culmination that results in you losing the game. The goal we get back for me is irrelevant. You can look for excuses. We have a nailed-on penalty that's turned down, but we didn't deserve anything from the game. So I'm comfortable with that. We move on, and you now look for a reaction, and we're back at home on Tuesday, so needing to put things right.
Was that the handball, the penalty incident?
No, the foul on Tanto down here is absolutely stonewall penalty. If there was handball, there might have been a handball. I'm more, like I say, more concerned about that one. But like I say, that's with 20 minutes to go in the game, and may have been a momentum shift in terms of us being spurred on by a decision that goes in your favour, then gets you back in the game. We needed that, and we didn't get it. And I wouldn't say I'd be lying if I said we deserved to get something from the game. We absolutely didn't. So like I say, you've got to part of that and move on.
As you say, credit to Newport as well, because they went with that front three, pressed you really aggressively, and made life difficult for you at times.
Yeah, it was similar. I think I watched the game against Mansfield, and from what I saw in that game, I think they did themselves a bit of a disservice in terms of what that game looked like. Second half, they had lots of opportunities like that today where things dropped at the edge of the box for them that Mansfield defended well, and they got blocks, and caused a threat. So whether you see it as a front three, most of the time it was a 2 and a 1, and one dropping in and round our deep line midfield player. Again, it's by the by in terms of our game plan and what it looked like. If we were as we were with a box in the middle of the pitch, we had 4v. If they were a front three, we had 4v2. You wouldn't have known, because we didn't look after the ball well enough, and we didn't move the ball enough. We were indisciplined in terms of what we wanted to do in possession. And even if one of them drops in with a 4v3, we had an overload. Again, you wouldn't have been able to tell, because we didn't use and take advantage of that. We knew that they press, which they did. I think that we have better options than lots of teams in the fact that we can play forward, and we can play up to Woods, and we counter press ourselves, and we can play beyond to Tanto. Didn't do it. And again, that was something that we'd spoken about. That's the biggest, like I said, the biggest disappointment in terms of you will go into games with a game plan that the majority of times, if it's carried out because of what we've watched and what we think Newport are going to be, then it will work if we do it well. They did exactly what we thought they would do. We didn't do our side of the bargain in terms of how we can get control in the game. And the one positive from the first half was blown up in smoke in the 50th minute, because we didn't defend a free kick in the first minute of the game when they could have scored, and we didn't defend a free kick in the 50th minute of the game. And I can be positive and say, well, we've been great, but that's not acceptable. That's the margins around going in, not having a great first half, going in at half time goalless, and being able to sort things out, and me have a rant and get things right, to going in a goal behind. And like I say, we deserve to be behind, but we should have gone in 0-0. And if we go in 0-0, then it may be a different story.
Concern right at the end as well for Will Collar. How is he?
Yeah, he's felt his hamstring when he's followed in the shot at the end there. So yeah, probably rounds off a really bad day for us. But what can you do? Like I say, things are there to challenge you. There's always going to be adversity. We can sit and feel sorry for ourselves and look for excuses, or we can go, crack on, not another game on Tuesday, we've got an opportunity to bounce back. Like I say, we're hampered by bits and bobs at the moment in terms of injuries and things like that, but no one's going to feel sorry for us, so we're not going to feel sorry for ourselves, and we'll get on with it.
It's nice to see the fans stay behind in the end and clap you off, because I know you won't be feeling it right now, but 12-game winning run, it's been unbelievable, and they do deserve the credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've said all the way along on this, it's great. Records are there to be broken. It's great to have records. All them 12-game winning run has done is give us 36 points. That's what it's done. We wanted to get done 3 points today. We haven't got that. So the end of one run becomes the start of another run. And we've got to make sure we pick up 3 points. We do everything we can to pick up 3 points on Tuesday. One thing is certain, we're going to be miles better than we were today. If we're not, we'll lose the game again.
Great game to have, though, a bit of a local derby on Tuesday night, a packed house at Edgeley Park, and I guess that's what you're going to want to see, a reaction from your team.
Definitely, and yeah, I suppose with things happening last year in terms of the playoffs and how that worked out, was obviously players in our squad that were in their squad last year, so there'll be I suppose little rivalries there in certain parts of the pitch, but we've been spoilt, if you like, in terms of Edgeley being packed out, and it will be packed out again. Our job's to perform and perform better than we have today, and if we can be, well, let's be clear, I don't think we can be technically worse than we were today, but if we can be technically good and make the game, our type of game, brilliant, but if we aren't, then we have to find a way. We have to dig in. You have to compete. If that game's a stinker of a game and half time's 0-0 and we have a digger 'em and second half we come out and we're just as bad and the game finishes 0-0, guess what? Sometimes that happens, and if you have to stink the place out regardless of how good a team you think you might be and what your aspirations are, then you have to do that, and we haven't done that today, and that's the disappointing thing from my perspective. You can't play well every game, but there are certain things you have to do in order that if you don't play well, you go, all right, we were miles below it today, but we go away with a point, and in some ways that would have been acceptable, but we didn't do the basics well enough, and the basics of competing and wanting, if the game's horrible, to go through a horrible game and get ourselves to the end of it, and we have to be able to do that over the course of the year, especially when you come into the coming months. Again, probably spoilt by the fact that pitches, even at this level, are in really good condition, and you don't get your mud baths of the noughties and tens that used to be horrific, and you get to change your game, but you have to dig in at times, and like I say, I want us to do that better.
Appreciate your time, Dave. Thank you.
Welcome. Cheers. Thank you.